Hey, what's up guys, Eduardo here, and today's video is going to be more of a this is what I do on my rest day type of video. Because yesterday I posted my upper body workout and I got a lot of positive feedback. I'm working towards my one arm pull up, my front lever row, and my planche push up, full planche push up. And I was very encouraged by all the comments and responses from my video, and decided, hey, might as well just post my whole week. So that's what I'm doing today. I kind of just woke up too. I woke up 30 minutes ago, and forgive me if I'm a little foggy. I'm just waking up here. So I chugged 16 ounces of cold water, hoping I can get ready to go. And yeah, let's do this thing. So in regards to having a structured plan, on my rest days, I really just take it more as a mobility day. So that's really what this video is kind of about. It's more of a mobility session, but I like movement. So I'll mess around and do other things throughout the day. And it's not that I'm moving in a fancy way or anything. I just typically do what I do every other day. I take my daughter on a walk. I'll go to the park with my daughter. I will go swimming with my kids. I'll go push her around on a fun little cart that she has, and she loves it if we go sprinting back and forth. She loves the trampoline, so I'll jump on the trampoline. She giggles every time I do backflips. So I do little things like that every day for some blood flow, and just kind of share my passion for fitness with my kids and my family, because I want them to be exposed to that at an early age. And you know, it's what I like, and I hope that one day we can share those passions together. But enough talking. I'm basically just going to show you guys what I like to do in a structured way. And I say structured because it's not necessarily that structured. I like to pick a handful of stretches and just move in and out of those. So I'll show you what an example of that could look like here. So all you really need is a staircase, and I like to start off with 3 steps over so I can really warm everything up here in my split squat in regards to my ankle, my hip, contract my glutes here and open everything up. And I like to move in and out. Notice how I'm turning to the side facing the camera. I really like doing this for my first set just to get everything opened up this way, but typically in a split squat, you'll face forward. And when I start with these, I do about 5 to 10 reps. Same thing, that's why I kind of do structured mobility sessions, because they're not necessarily structured. I base this off of feel. Once I do a few reps, then I'll go to the other side. And I play around with it a little bit, moving back and forth. I think when it comes to stretching, lots of people get too focused on the reps, get focused on the technique, and they forget to build an awareness of how their body's feeling in regards to fatigue, in regards to where they're feeling their sticky spots. And I like to throw in some pancakes. So this isn't a pancake, but it's more of a standing pancake, straight leg good morning, whatever you want to call this, standing straddle, and move in and out of here. Same thing, I always get little pops there. I don't know if you can hear that, but if I ever shift side to side, it's always good. And I know this is going to be somewhat of a boring video, so if you're going to stick around and watch the whole thing, it might be worth it to just kind of hop in and do it with me. And I'll try and talk in between every exercise so that it's not as boring and you maybe can pick up some nuggets out of it. Also, I hope you guys can hear me okay, because I just got this mic from a friend and I'm excited to use it, because if it works out, I don't have to scream into the camera. So notice what I'm doing here. I'm trying to push my heels down as far as possible to get a calf stretch, and then I raise as high as you can. This is going to serve as a calf stretch as well as calf strengthening. yeah, move around a little bit, get the sticky spots, which is really good for me personally because I'd like to have flexible ankles because my ankles are pretty tight compared to other parts of my body. So I'm gonna stick with those 3. I usually do some other ones on the ground, but because of the camera angle, it's not really ideal. So I'm gonna do these 3 and then do another series on the ground. But typically I'll do them all together. So after I do those 3, I'll probably do some stuff on the ground as well, normally. But I'll just kind of go into the split squats again and do those 3 for rounds. I like to do split squats, pancakes, calf raises, Jefferson curls, things that require the elevation at first because it serves as a nice warm-up. Notice that I didn't do any warm-up. I just woke up and kind of did this. And it's not that I do this as soon as I wake up. This just happens to be a good time for me since my girlfriend and my kids are out. Otherwise, I'd have to do this outside or in the garage, and it's not as ideal for me. So the lower you go on your split squats, the harder it becomes. So that's why we started off higher, because it sort of acts as a warm-up, but it's not really a warm-up. It's doing the exercise. And I just posted a video about this as well in regards to warm-ups and what the perfect warm-up is. So if you haven't watched that, definitely go ahead and give it a watch. But what I say there is the perfect warm-up is specific to you and specific to the workout that you'll be doing. And in this case, since I'm going to be doing split squats, or I am doing split squats, a really good warm-up is to start at an easier version of the split squat, which is the inclined. And then every set, it's sort of like a drop set where we make it harder every set. Same thing, I'm doing 5 to 10 reps, and because I'm talking, I'm not really counting, but I never really count. I just go with the flow. My right side's a little tighter, so I do my right side a bit more and kind of hang out there and stretch. Now for the pancake, I'm seated now because that makes it a bit harder. And same thing, you can move in and out. No one says you have to do it a specific way. When you stretch, there should be an element of playfulness. You know, explore your tight areas, explore your non-tight areas, and spend more time with the areas that feel really good, and spend some time with the areas that don't feel that great. Like, notice how I'm riding my back. I'm not putting myself in danger because I'm a healthy person. I don't have any back problems or anything. You can even do these zombie looking things, kind of like swan dive to Jefferson curl combo. If you really wanted, you can set a timer and just rep out things for 30 to 60 seconds. I mean, really, it's just dependent on how much time you give yourself for the day. If you want to do a whole hour of stretching, go ahead. I'm not really into that, so I'll just kind of move in and out until I feel good for 3 to 5 rounds, which usually just ends up being 4th because I start with the 3rd step, and then I go to the 2nd, then the 1st, and then the last one. And really, none of this stuff is too taxing for me, so that's always good. You know, when you're in your off day, I think a lot of people, what they tend to do is they'll still try and make movement hard. Whereas, you know, it shouldn't be. Your recovery is for recovery. You're trying to recover. And if you get some blood flow, that's great. It'll help you recover. But if you're getting sore and exhausted, that's not the best thing for recovery. You know, we have processes that break our muscles down, and we need to build them back up with food, sleep, and avoiding more muscle breakdown. Because that's how we get stronger. We get stronger from working hard and recovering, not just working hard. So, third round here, making it a little bit harder now by going deeper, less inclined. Notice how I always want to have my hamstring covering my heel and my calf. This really gets this opened up here. If the sound quality is bad, I apologize because I haven't figured out these mics yet. But it's a cool little setup. They're wireless mics that I have attached to my hip and a lavalier that's connecting to my collar. And I'm not too technologically advanced, but I'm not going to do this video again. All right, so now that I have a little bit more blood flow going through me, I'm talking, so I'm a little bit more out of breath. It reminds me to talk about breathing. So when you're stretching, you have the complete opposite goal of strength training. When you're strength training, you're trying to get really tense. You're trying to tighten every muscle in your body and work together as one unit and stay as stiff as possible for as long as possible. Whereas with flexibility, you're trying to be nice and loose. So your breath is going to be the opposite, where you're going to try to let go of all that tension. And you do that by deep exhaling, right? Almost as if you're going to fog up a mirror, or, you know, kind of how people like smell their breath a little bit, kind of like that. Just trying to stay relaxed and chill. And notice, I mean, I'm still talking fine. I'm a little out of breath because I'm talking as I'm stretching, but there's no wincing, there's no grunting. That's what stretching is. You don't want to push past to that pain, because if you do, you're pretty much doing the opposite. It's not probably, you are. You're doing the opposite. You're going to make your body tighter if you take its pain, because your body's going to respond to that and understand that it's a dangerous position and it doesn't want to be there anymore, so it's going to tighten up so you don't take it to that range anymore. Oh yeah, feeling nice and loose. But if you relax and you tell your body it's okay to be there, then it's going to loosen up in those ranges and say, it's okay, I trust you. And that's how you get flexible. It's like your body has a mind of its own. You need to convince it that it's okay to be there. You don't force your body to be there. So I'm going single leg with these this calf stretch here because it's a deeper stretch for me if I go single leg. But the problem is it's harder. So I'm going to do 5 like this, and I'll do 5 negatives only with the stretch, and I'll show you what that looks like. Boom, you see that? So I can get really deep into that one leg. I just use 2 legs to come up, 1 leg to come down. Because same thing, I'm not trying to exhaust myself. I'm not trying to get my calves sore. I'm trying to get them stretched out. And my opinion, this isn't even a theory, it's not a scientific reasoning. This is just kind of what mentally helps me, is if I get stronger in these ranges, it's much easier to maintain than flexibility. If you're just strong alone, you're most likely not using the mobility you need in full range of motion. And if you're flexible alone, same thing. All right, so fourth set, I'm gonna do these on the floor here. Let's see if the camera gets it. Yep, should be fine. So this is a question I get asked all the time. Can your back leg bend? The answer is yes, totally, it's fine. You know, the goal is to get as much range of motion as possible. But something I do make all of my clients do is I do ask them to keep their heel on the ground, the front heel. The back heel can come up, the front heel should stay on the ground. That's an easy way to get as much range of motion as possible. But if you lift your heel, you get more range, but it just becomes a lot more knee dominant. And same thing, it's not the goal for today. If you want to do this on your heavy strength day and it feels fine and you're healthy, that's okay. But I'd rather you get less range of motion and stay healthier. Whew. Yeah, it gets real open. I think I'm going to do one more round after this, so that feels nice. I don't want to make this video too long, but I mean, it is what it is. I was also going to have it more as those fast forward type of videos. But in case you guys want to see or get a little bit in my head about breathing and all that stuff, then I'll let you guys know. I'm not trying to go viral off of these videos. Really, it's just for those that want to see how I do things, and if you feel it'll be helpful for you, then you can see that too. So check this out. So my right ankle is a little tighter, so I like to pull deep into it, and my heel comes off a little bit. That's totally fine when I'm here, but I don't want to push off of that, because same thing, there's no need to put that kind of stress to the joint. So when I come back up, I'll shift my weight back. So I'm here, this is my limit for my right ankle. So I'll try and get a little deeper. If my heel comes off a little bit, that's fine. But when I push back up, I'll reset and then come back. Now here's something that feels really good too. If you can get in here comfortably, going from lunge to sort of a toe stretch, feels real nice. Whew, all right. Let's see if you can see my pancake here. That feels good. Same thing, if I force myself with a few extra sets, some weight on my back, I can get my chest to the ground, but that's not the goal. The goal is to relax. You're not trying to force any positions here. You're just trying to see what feels good. And like right here, my side is a little sore from yesterday, so this feels amazing. And you can play around with all this stuff. No need to do anything crazy. Just have fun with it. No need for counting, unless you are that kind of person. Some people are counters and very numbers people. I'm very not like that. I like to just chill and explore, play around with things. This feels really good on my lower back right now, so I'm letting my lower back round. But you can keep it arched, you can keep it straight, whatever feels good. If you have like a sciatica or slip disc, this might not be the best thing for you, so you might want to keep it elevated with your back flat. If you round your back a lot, that might be an issue. But some people with back pain feel really good with back flexion, so you have to understand if you feel better with a neutral back, meaning straight, an arched back like a U, or a round back. You should consult your doctor, physical therapist, and play around with the positions that feel good for you. All right, one more set of calf raises. I think I'm good there. That actually was a good range of motion. I'll move on to the ground after this set here. And since my calves are actually getting a little tired, I'm just going to do 2 legs. This is nice too, getting a little hinge after your calf raises. Your toes elevated like this. Lengthen your hamstrings for a really good stretch. I like that. Because I'm not really getting so much of a calf stretch anymore. So if we can get that in a different way. Whew. All right, so let's move on to the ground. All right, so now since the ground doesn't have any like elevation or anything, you have to play around with how you modify things, because pretty much all those exercises on the stairs, you can just incline more and that makes it easier. But here you have to get a good understanding of what feels better for you. For example, these froggers, man, I love these froggers. They get everything on the inside really nice. But if this is tight, so notice how my feet are, they're pointed out like a frog. You could point them down like this instead of like this. You can point them down like this, and it feels a lot easier. And then same thing, you can bring your knees a little bit closer and kind of just rocking back and forth this way. The farther and the more splayed out your feet are, the more challenging it is. Now I like to do this for reps or time, and then straighten out one leg. And it feels really, really good. And you can bring your foot a little bit closer, same thing to modify. And then just breathing. So what the one leg extended does, it gets a little bit more of the hamstring. When you bend both knees, it gets a lot of the inside of your thigh. But now that I'm straightening out one leg, it's getting a bit of hamstring as well. Now I like to go all the way back, but you can go all the way forward too. And it's all about messing around with it. You know, and this kind of flexibility, we're born with. You know, my daughter will just sit like this. She'll even sit like this. And lots of people can't do this, and she's totally comfortable with it. She'll like jump around, and it's pretty funny to watch her do that kind of stuff. Because for me, that seated position was comfortable, but that's because I'm already warmed up. You know, I can't do that when I'm super cold because it's tight. I mean, I could, but if I would be scared to jump in that position. But we're all born with mobility for the most part, I mean, healthy people. It's just a matter of keeping it. So why am I stretching now? You know, I already have a decent amount of mobility, at least for the things that I need to do. I don't need to do a split to raise a daughter. I don't need to have the middle splits to do woodworking, which is my hobby. So what is the point? Well, as we get older, we get more stiff, right? We have specific muscles that get even stiffer. So if I want to stay as young as possible, keep pushing my daughter around in her cart so that one day I can push her daughter around in a cart and I can jump on the trampoline with my daughter's daughter and my son's son. I want to be able to do that. And a combination of two things is what I think keeps you young. Now, I have no experience because I've always been young for my entire life. But having a combination of strength and flexibility is, in my opinion, the way to stay young. And when I say strength, I mean more the muscle fiber, right? The type 2 muscle fiber is the combination of strength and power. You don't see a lot of old people jumping around. It's harder when you're older. But another thing is we don't train it anymore. So I want to be able to train my flexibility, my strength, and my power for as long as possible. I want to be 60 and still be able to backflip. All right, so what I did there is just a lunge. I'm keeping my glutes tight, getting as deep as possible into that calf stretch, because I like to move and shift my way into the Cossack squat. Now, if you can't do the Cossack squat, just go into a regular squat. If you can't do a regular squat, you can hold on to something for counterweight and just go as deep as you can. Try to keep your back nice and flat, your posture nice and tall, but same thing, you can experiment with what feels better for you. For me, because my ankles are tight and I want to get them flexible, I like to hold the Cossack squat. Guys, if you have only 2 stretches and 2 exercises, go with a Cossack squat variation or the easier version like the squat and the split squat. The easier version of that is incline split squat. Now here, I do a combination of things. I like to hold, and then this shift just feels amazing. My left ankle's a little bit more flexible, so I don't mess around with it a little bit or as much. But this is the toe thing I was talking about that feels so good. So if you curl into your toes from that lunge position, you get a good stretch into these toes, and this is one of my favorites. It feels so great. Our toes don't get any love, and I like to move my knee around in little semicircles here. Whoo, that feels nice. Shifting side to side here. I like to spend a lot of time in the Cossack squat because it's just such a good feeling. And then you could even shift side to side here. Do a little flowy flow. All right. And the last one for this little ground sequence is just a 90-90, which is a modified pigeon. I could do a pigeon, but it's pretty tight. And so I might warm up into it, but same thing, there's no need. What's the need of pushing yourself? I think it's over glorified to push yourself a little too hard on some things. Stretching is not one of them. Working out, on the other hand, is a little different. All right, so my camera just stopped and it's out of focus, so we'll see what happened. Hopefully I didn't miss out too much, but I was in the middle of doing a pigeon stretch. And I mean, we have 2 to 3 rounds to go, so I don't think you would have missed out too much. So here, both knees are bent at 90 degrees, but you can make them easier by tucking your knees in more, doing it that way. But I get absolutely no stretch that way, so I'm gonna go perpendicular here and move around. Now, I like to go chest down and try to get my knees in between my nipples, basically, because that's where I'm the most tight with this exercise. But you can take it deeper and try to get knee to opposite shoulder. So my right knee is down, so I'll try to take it to my left shoulder, and that gives me a slightly different stretch. Or you could do the opposite and go more towards same knee to same shoulder. And same thing, it's slightly different, but I don't get much out of it, so I'm going more in this direction. Whoo, that's good. And then if you want to, you can switch back and forth here. Give it a little flow. I typically like to do this for lots of exercises there just throughout the day, but for this one, it's not too much. I actually like to hold it in that position. All right, round 2. In regards to the camera, I'll probably just leave it for 2 rounds. I don't know why it just automatically stopped. I don't want to take too long. So, in case the camera stopped beforehand, I did a Frogger stretch here. And now I'm straightening out one leg to get a bit deeper in my hamstrings. Whew, feels nice. Now something that you can do in this position too is a little can opener. If my hip flexors are a little bit tighter, I'll start with that. So basically just trying to drop my hip to the ground, lift my foot up, and actually try and pull this downward. Gives a little different feeling. So in college we had something called a penetration step, which is really good for single, double leg takedowns, where you come in here and from this lunge you learn how to take people down. So maybe this is one reason why I like it too. It's just a little nostalgic. Come in here, stretch, hold, move around. Doesn't have to be a specific way that someone taught you. You can explore this lunge position. Right? You might have seen The World's Greatest Stretch. You can do that. Just like everything else, flexibility is individual to you. So while I think the exercises in this video will help anyone, it's geared towards me. So you might feel that some are too easy, some are too hard. So it's important to modify and make it specific for you. And that shift to Cossack Squat, I feel so cool doing that. Right? It's so easy too. You just lean forward, pivot on the balls of your feet, and turn your hips. Boom. I think that's really cool. All right. Come down. You can do the same thing here. Lunge. Cossack side to side. Since I already held the Cossack and I'm really loose by this point, I'm just moving. I'm just using my mobility now. I'm not really focused on increasing my range or anything. I'm just exploring at this point. And just kind of combining all of these together. Ooh, you saw that? So from the 90-90, if you swing your leg upwards, you could do some fancy stuff. All the way through. Boom. Bend your leg at 90 degrees, swing this back leg, boom. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you can play around with it. There's no, standard to mobility. Just don't hurt yourself and work within your means. It's almost like finances, right? If we stay within our means, we're not going to go in debt. But that's a totally different topic that I'm not very intelligent with. You could even end up in the squat, move around here a little bit, do some flows if you like that. Whew. And that's it, guys. Not the most fun video, but maybe you took some nuggets out of it. Try to add in that little freestyle, but that wasn't really me attempting to make this video cool. It's actually something I do at the end of my workouts, because I read an article by Jarlo, which was really cool. And I forgot which article. If I find it, I'll link it below. But after you gain your range, you should use it. And that's how we ultimately keep our range of motion, is by using our range of motion. So throughout the day, move, improve. After your session, don't just stretch and call it a day. You know, that's why I like working out at home, because I can move within, you know, everywhere I want to. Whereas if I'm in the gym, people are going to look at me if I do stuff like that, for one. And it really shouldn't matter if you are at the gym. It doesn't matter what other people think. But what's next? Well, you get in your car, you sit down, and that's it. So now this is the start of my day, and can do anything I want because I feel great. All right, that's all I got, man. If you liked the video, let me know. I'd love to hear how you guys do things. If you joined in with me, would be awesome to hear how you feel after this. But yeah, a little different today, and so tomorrow I'll post what I do tomorrow. All right, until next time.